Hello, good evening once again. You're watching us live from the Gambia Radio and Television Services, and this is the news at 10. But first, a look at our headlines. Gambian pilgrims on the presidential sponsorship package return gratitude to Professor Janneh for bankrolling their trip to perform the Hajj. Now, Tabasco fever grips Gambia as GRTS visits major selling points ahead of celebrations marking the Feast of Sacrifice. Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte triggers another diplomatic storm in a major spate with the U.S. president. Plus, ASEAN leaders meet in Laos decades after the end of a vicious war which affected this tiny Southeast Asian nation. Well, these and other stories coming ahead in the next 30 minutes. I am Fatou Janneh Mbai.
73 in the...
Hello and welcome to the news. Gambian pilgrims who are on the presidential Hajj package have hailed the Gambian leader for helping them fulfill one of Islam's most important pillars. 75 pilgrims have benefited from the president's generosity, and as Famara Kanye tells us, they are among the latest of a significant number to have performed the Hajj courtesy of President Janneh.
They are the 75 lucky pilgrims who have benefited from the presidential package, full of joy. These Gambian pilgrims could not express in words their gratitude to their benefactor, the president, the Gambian leader who has a history of reaching out to the poor and needy, and that remains a feature of his presidency for more than 2 decades. Each year, the president provides a special package for countless number of Gambians drawn from across the country. And majority of the beneficiaries are those with little or no chance to undertake this important religious obligation due to financial constraints. This year's Hajj season is not an exception. These men and women drawn from different regions across the country to perform the Hajj at no cost is a gesture which cannot go unnoticed. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Alhaji Abdullah Bojang, is one of the many beneficiaries who joined the others to express their sincere appreciation to Professor Janneh. The condition of Gambian pilgrims could not have been better than this, thanks to the collaboration of the different stakeholders involved in the Hajj process. The National Hajj Commission is working to ensure the welfare of the pilgrims is given the utmost care. From feeding, accommodation to pilgrim welfare, all have been taken care of diligently throughout the course of the Hajj. As for the pilgrims on the presidential ticket to perform the Hajj, this is a special moment for them. They were in good spirit to tell us their stories. As per ordained by Allah, Hajj is one of the most tedious journeys a Muslim could undertake in his life, seeking for Allah's reward. This goes further to differentiate the wondrous journey from tourism. Steadfastness and ability to strive under challenging conditions is one aspect that every Muslim pilgrim should be willing to bear in as much as Hajj is concerned. Those are conditions that Rasulullah, the Prophet of Islam, and his companions had gone through. However, to minimize much of the pain and the challenges that pilgrims go through during the Hajj, the National Hajj Commission has put in place a series of services both in Medina and Mecca to tackle those unavoidable constraints. This has compelled them to choose hotels not far from the Haramain, and for the first time, Gambian pilgrims are lodged in a hotel in the heart of Mecca with a mosque and a restaurant facility inside. 2 significant achievements registered by the Amirul Hajj, Alhaji Usman Jah and his team. Gambian pilgrims are also opportune to have their own clinic within the hotel, run on a 24-hour basis, giving them the opportunity to report any abnormality to our own Gambian doctors in their native languages. This has set the Gambia apart and enabled pilgrims to have quality care at all times. Meantime, the Hajj Commission is on its heels, conducting meetings on a daily basis to enter into solid agreements with Saudi officials ahead of the departure to Mina this weekend. For GRTS News, I am Alhaji Famara Kanye, reporting from Makkatul Mukarram, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
A fulfilling journey there. Now, meanwhile, Muslims in the Gambia are gearing up for the Feast of Tabasco, which is set for early next week. Many celebrants have already begun their Eid shopping, which is a major feature of these mega celebrations. Our reporter Rahibite begins our coverage featuring the state of the Tabasco sale, and this is her report.
The Feast of Eid al-Adha, locally called Tubaski, is one that brings the best out of every celebrant. beautiful attires out of some indigenous piece of artwork in local tailoring outlets. The build-up to this mega celebration has now reached fever pitch, and those that are yet to buy materials for it to show are rushing to textile shops as tailors are now racing against time to complete their huge load of work ahead of the feast. With days to go before the Eid, people are still shopping materials, pressurizing some tailors, adding more to their load. As we visit the Serakunda market to gauge the situation at the textile shops, we stumble on our Sila, Deputy Mayoress of Banjul, who was out to buy materials for the upcoming Tobaski. According to her, there isn't much difference in prices as before, but she was able to get what she wanted.
Some of the prices are normal, like they used to be before the Tobaski. Maybe if it gets nearer, the prices will be lowered, but from my experience, the prices are still the same.
Jilly Gay, a businessman into the selling of textiles, says customers are coming and business is going as usual, noting they have variety of new materials on offer for the Tobaski. The situation was different in the case of Sadili. Unlike Jilly, there wasn't much business. They were sighted waiting for customers. For him, prices are cheap. Nonetheless, they haven't made much business. He, however, hoped for a change in fortune, hoping that customers will potentially switch attention to buying curtains. Those words were echoed by Esa Fall, who also decried the low turnout of customers. He attributed it to the rainy season, for at this time of the year, many are engaged in farming. He, however, noted that they are trying their luck. But attention will now be switched to the tailors, as all want to look good on Tobaski, even for those whose materials made it late to the tailors. Some tailors are struggling to complete their work. And for some, it is a mighty struggle, as more and more customers line in anticipation of having their clothes sewn in time for the feast. A visit to some of the tailoring outlets in the country gave us a true picture of the desperate scramble to meeting deadlines. For one like Ibrahim Jallo, customers are coming and there is work. He is confident that he is going to complete the clothes of his customers in time. According to him, it is always good to limit the amount that one takes so as to avoid failing to meet the demands of their customers. Jallo advised fellow tailors to take what they can. Asked if their prices are not much, he responded with laughter, saying it isn't.
Why no?
Another tailor, Modou Diop, described the challenges they face as tailors during this period. Key among them the frequent power outages, which he says affect the operational efficiency of their machines, thereby forcing them to rely on generators. At the time of our visit, one of his tailors was sweeping, while others were sleeping due to the power challenges. The work is not easy due to the demand. I usually work day and night, despite the fact that my home is just meters away. This is because we want to satisfy our customers. Those were the words of Modou Diop, a tailor. Diop was, however, positive about the favorable business climate, which he said is thriving well. The days and nights spent on sewing deprive these tailors a good time to rest and have some sleep. The window is closing in, and customers are breathing down their necks, but these tailors are not resting. No sleep and little time to relax. While some are busy at their machines, others are cutting and ironing before they are ready for display. The market was very busy with tailors all engaged, but the question now is, will these tailors be able to complete the huge amount of outfits given to them by customers with just few days to Tobaski? Rahibitei, GRTS.
Well, indeed, a busy moment for the tailors. Now, 12 Gambian students under the Chinese government scholarship package have finally left the Gambia for Beijing, China. The first batch will be away for 4 to 6 years, studying different fields. The students were seen at the Banjul International Airport by family members, friends, and loved ones. Aissatou Keita was at the Banjul International Airport and she filed in this report.
It was an emotional moment for both the scholarship awardees and their parents ahead of their study trip to Beijing. The students, numbering 12, are the first cohort to benefit from the Chinese government scholarship, following the joint communique that had the desire for the two nations to closely work together to consolidate the bilateral relations between them at all levels for the mutual benefit of the two countries.
I want to thank the government of the Gambia. I want to thank the President, the Minister of Basic and Higher Education. I also want to thank again the Chinese Embassy for making this trip a successful one. Indeed, it is a successful one already. And I hope, inshallah, we are all going to make it and we will keep the Gambian flag flying in higher heights, inshallah.
The message from parents is simple. The expectations of the nation will be firmly placed on this group, who will be flying the country's flag in China.
This is the first time and they are the first people going, and we are expecting them to be one of the best students in China. And then this is the opportunity for Gambians, so that all of them, when they go, let them show their hospitality at Gambia, how they are. Let them show our Gambians the way they are in Gambia. Because tomorrow, their brothers are coming and their sisters. If they give good chance there, those brothers and sisters are going to be there. Even their sons can have the same opportunity tomorrow.
After all documentations and checking, they finally boarded the flight and set off to China for studies in different fields within the span of 4 to 6 years. For GRTS News, this is Aissatou Keita.
Well, good luck to the students, and now to some entertainment news. Now, the maiden edition of the Gambia Radio and Television Services Summer Jam program continued on Sunday at the Palmarima Beach in Kololi. The program aimed at bringing youth and children together to showcase their talents in the areas of fashion, sports, dancing, and spelling bee competitions was graced by a massive crowd. And as by Ibrahim Cham reports, the event witnessed some amazing performances in the dancing competition, which thrilled the crowd. But 2 among the 7 contesting groups were eliminated.
The GRTS crew definitely showed Gambian showbiz how a summer jam goes down. Gearing up to the 3rd edition after relocating to Palmarima Beach, making old folks reminisce on how Sunday beaches used to be in the early 2000s, with a breezy atmosphere and cooling temperature. Serving the delicious domoda for lunch put up a couple of cute smiling faces amongst colleagues. After the well-equipped sound engineer got set up and DJ Soulfly's playlist was laid out, the party started. Hosted by the elegant Awa Jabate and veteran DJ Senator, the Once Upon a Time dance hall disc jockey Article Slice knew the best buttons to push, making the crowd go wild. With a series of events and a band full of artists backstage, the dance hall diva Sophia bagged the opening act. Being a phenomenal performer and a dancer, her moves were fierce. Upon popular demand, the Artist of the Year, well-branded as Birkamo Boyo, almost stole the show with his best hit, Tas Dekabi. Still continuing with the dancing contest, this week's edition was considered the toughest of all. The Young Breakers, the Dragon Ash, Universal Warriors, Edlex Robot, Moonwalkers, King FFL, and Swagger went head-to-head, leaving the crowd to judge for the elimination round, taking the Moonwalkers and Swagger out of the contest. The dancers' moves were fearful and extraordinary, doing the most sophisticated acrobatic stunts ever witnessed by a summer jam crowd. Other acts were also introduced, like the infamous Jizzle, also known as the Man of the Year, inviting his young brother on stage for the hit duo track Bad and Famous. Big Far also played his part by dropping his hit track on the Panda beat. DJ Fireman also graced the event by interacting with the crowd using his signature reggae chants. After a night long of non-stop entertainment, our Jabata freed up the stage to all presenters showing their dancing talents hidden behind the scenes. The Summer Jam, proudly sponsored by New Vision Development, Gamcell, and Gambega Limited, just to name a few, will be taking a break for the Tobaski and will be back on the 18th of September for the Back to School Summer Jam Festival. By Ibrahim Cham, GRTS.
Well, massive show of talents there. Now, EcoBank Gambia Limited has launched a new campaign called Move On Up, meant to improve their banking services to a more digital way and as a way of providing quality services to their esteemed customers. Al Kumbaba was at the briefing of the campaign, and this is her report.
EcoBank has launched a new campaign dubbed Move On Up. The campaign is meant to transform their banking services into a more digital and relevant way in a bid to deliver positively to their esteemed customers.
The first is digital convenience. Our customers want the convenience of banking, from being able to pay with an EcoBank card to doing financial transactions on their mobile phones, over the internet, at ATMs and point-of-sale terminals. The second pillar is relevance. At EcoBank, we create personal banking solutions that are relevant to our customers to suit their lifestyle. And the final pillar is choice. With our unraveled Pan-African platform across 36 markets in Africa, we provide our customers with the widest access to products and services, indeed, wider than the offering of any other bank.
The campaign demonstrates how EcoBank value their customers, standing out from their competitors in helping customers in their day-to-day banking activities. The campaign bank officials further remark will ensure that their customers are provided with world-class convenient, accessible and reliable banking solutions in the Gambia and the rest of the continent.
The imagination of EcoBank's founding fathers was to create a truly Pan-African bank. At the center of this vision, nearly 30 years ago, was the progress of our continent. EcoBank has since grown its presence to 36 markets and has international offices in London, Paris, Dubai, and Beijing. EcoBank Gambia started operations in the Gambia in 2007 and has since grown to 7 branches with 18 ATMs across the country.
The campaign is geared towards promoting digital banking, which marks a milestone in the history of EcoBank for their steadfastness to make their customers realize their dreams.
Move On Up highlights our missions to enable people to realize their dreams. Not too long ago, banking was about paper. There were no ATMs, checks, bank drafts, and long queues were the hallmarks of banking. So much has changed. The great mega trend in Africa is about straight to mobile. Mobile penetration, according to statistics, is higher in Africa than in any other continent. Our sons and daughters are banking online and on their mobiles. For them, it's not about where you go, but what you do. Customers throughout our continent are upwardly mobile and have many more opportunities to move ahead in life. Move On Up captures this enormous potential.
Having described EcoBank as the Pan-African bank, which truly cares for continuous development of the continent, this campaign is expected to enhance their banking services in their 7 branches across the country.
As we all know that the world is moving and technology is improving, every day, every second, every week, every month. I think in that regard, we as a group also think that we should follow the footstep of the changing world. And this move on up is all about being digital.
With this new campaign launch, the bank's vision is to become undisputed preferred choice for banking, not only in the Gambia, but throughout Africa.
Bank with your mobile anytime, anywhere.
Reporting for GRTS News, I am Kumbaba. EcoBank has launched.
Well, time now to take our first break. A look at sports when we return, then go away. Welcome back. In the Brikama-Nawetan, Chimo United beat Fabu Football Club 1-0 to book their place in the round of 16 of the Knockout Cup. Ismail Ajiba's brilliant second-half strike made the difference. Amadou S. Jallo now brings us up to date with events in the Brikama-Nawetan, and this is his report.
Nawetan game with a heavy downpour, but despite the rains, the fans of the two teams, Fabu Football Club and the fans of Chimo United, turn out in numbers.
Whilst the fans defied the rains to show support to their respective teams, the keenly contested encounter was decided by one magical moment from one of the youngest players who scored a brilliant solo goal. Both Fabu Football Club from Brikama and Chimo United from Sanjaba, seen here in their green colors, came into this knockout class, having already booked their place in the round of 16 of the league competition. Fabu Football Club were missing their captain Lamin Samate and coach Lemanti Sanyang, who was spotted by our camera, giving instructions from outside. Both are serving a 2-match ban. Despite the downpour, the game was played at a very high tempo, with both sides playing with real intensity and urgency. Fans of the two teams remained on top of their voices throughout. The first period, however, ended goalless, with neither side creating any real scoring opportunity. Chimo United looked the more likely side to score in the second period, with some decent chances. But the Fabu goalkeeper Sirifo Jada produced a string of fine saves to keep the reigning league champions in the game. At the other end, Fabu also squandered some good chances. Then came this moment, the introduction of the match winner, midway into the second half. The chant of Messi, Messi could be heard as Ismail Ajiba was being prepared to come on. And within few minutes on the pitch, the youngster produced a moment of individual brilliance to score a wonderful solo effort. Picking the ball deep into the opponent's half and dribbling past several players to finish brilliantly. That was a goal of the highest quality and a possible contender for the goal of the season. The ability to dribble past several players with ease was amazing. The composure and the finish was magnificent. You can watch that goal over and over again, and you will never get bored.
Diam da coach yang kaya ko coach sama na second half ngana second half performance na jibi abakala nyame you know when in na second half la talo ko min ko mbas ko la kebe bondi mil banyato nge bondi kati ta hani la kan chat ko mi ban
I knew I was going to score
so wala nang hani
if I'm given the chance to play. And when I got that ball, I decided to attack and dribble the opponents. I knew they will avoid any contact with me in the box. My man of the match explained after his goal decided the thrilling tie and sent Chimo United into the next round of the Knockout Cup, much to the delight of their fans and coach. Out of the Knockout Cup, Fabu will now focus on defending their league title. Chimo United are joined in the next round of the Knockout Cup by Dangam, Berewuleng, Newtown FC, Fortune Football Club, Daru United, Talibu Bears, Orlando, Konbi, Jida Youths, Alfama, Jaliba, and 2 more other places to be booked on Tuesday and Wednesday.
And it has been a very, very intriguing game between these two sides. And to cap it off, a brilliant individual goal scored by one of the youngsters of this Brikama-Nawetan, nicknamed Messi. A brilliant solo goal decided the game. The ambience under the rains at the Boxbar Mini Stadium, generated by the two set of fans, is definitely amazing. Mohamed S. Jallo, GRT Sports at the Boxbar Mini Stadium.
Well, from sports, we now take our second break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Now over now to stories making headline news around the world. U.S. President Barack Obama is in Laos for a high-profile gathering with leaders of the ASEAN group. The 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations is holding a two-day summit, but the gathering has been overshadowed by a diplomatic spate. Obama has cancelled a meeting with his Filipino counterpart Rodrigo Duterte that was scheduled to take place in Laos, but cancelled after Duterte described the U.S. president as a son of a whore.
Barack Obama is the first sitting U.S. president to visit the country. The president of Laos welcomed his guest to Vientiane in a steady tropical downpour. Obama acknowledged their two countries' challenging history, a reference to the covert bombing campaign that the U.S. waged in Laos during the Vietnam conflict.
Over the years, thousands of Laotians have been killed or injured. Farmers tending their fields, children playing. The wounds, a missing leg or arm, last a lifetime. So today I'm proud to announce a historic increase in these efforts. The United States will double our annual funding to $90 million over the next 3 years to help Laos expand its work.
Obama is in Laos for the ASEAN summit. It's the latest and possibly last of his trips to the region as U.S. president. Obama's pivot to Asia is a cornerstone of his foreign policy, aimed at reassuring America's Asian allies in the face of China's growing political and economic power.
And across the region, including in the East and South China Seas, the United States will continue to fly and sail and operate wherever international law allows, and support the right of all countries to do the same. We will stand with our allies and partners in upholding fundamental interests, among them freedom of navigation and overflight, lawful commerce that's not impeded, and peaceful resolution of disputes. That's the security that we seek.
But regional diplomacy here is a delicate balancing act. A day earlier, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte called Obama the son of a whore.
I am a president of a sovereign state, and we have long ceased to be a colony. I do not have any master except the Filipino people. Nobody but nobody. You must be respectful. Do not just throw away questions and statements. Putang ina, mumurahin kita dyan sa forum na yan.
Obama promptly canceled a planned meeting with the Philippine president as Duterte's aides scrambled to limit the damage.
There is no date yet, certain.
He expresses deep regret, deep regard, and affinity for President Obama and for the enduring partnership between our nations.
We also regret it came across as a personal attack on the U.S. president.
Observers do not expect the kerfuffle to cause lasting damage. Duterte knows the U.S. remains his country's most important ally in the Pacific.
Well, from that report on the U.S. president's visit to Laos, a quick check at our main headlines once again. Gambian pilgrims on the presidential sponsorship package have returned gratitude to Professor Janneh for bankrolling their trip to perform the Hajj. Tabasco fever has gripped Gambia as GRTS visits major selling points ahead of celebrations marking the Feast of Sacrifice. Filipino President Rodrigo Duterte has triggered another diplomatic storm in the major spate with the U.S. president. And ASEAN leaders are meeting in Laos decades after the end of a vicious war which affected this tiny Southeast Asian nation. Well, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. Thanks for the pleasure of your company from myself, Fatou Janneh, Mbai, and the rest of the team. Thank you for watching us, and up next is the highlights of the inauguration of the multi-million-dollar power plant in Farafenni. That will be followed by Fila, your favorite Gambian show. Until then, enjoy the rest of our interesting programs.